Rishus to Boyd Astra, Rishus to Kosher Rabbanim. I want to give a special Rishus to my second grade teacher, Rabbi Horowitz. I'll tell you that a couple of days ago, learning the Perek Echad L'Yom Rambam, it hit me like a load of bricks. The Rambam says in Hilchos Torah that you have a wilhelm with your child. Are you allowed to switch, go from one place to another place? So the Rambam says something which you think it's obvious, but there must be a chiddush here. The Rambam says you're allowed to switch from one wilhelm to another wilhelm. But if you're going over a nahar, if you're going over a river or a lake, you can't. Because it's a sakhan. Back then the bridge is very dangerous, and you're taking a risk from taking from place to place. I'm learning this halach, and it hits me. What's the chiddush? You're not allowed to go to Korch Nefesh. Chiddush is domain for chinuch habonim. Not forget a Mesiras Nefesh. So the Rambam says if the bridge is not safe, save the Mesiras Nefesh for somebody else, for some other time. But for chinuch habonim, not forget a Mesiras Nefesh. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm only going to have a couple of minutes. I'm going to try to take something which has a lot of lofty spiritual ideas and try to bring it down Ma'aseh B'Pel. The Shulchan Aruch says in Hilchos Pesach, the end of Hilchos Pesach, which is Hilchos Shavuos, the Rebbe has a sikha why there is no title Hilchos Shavuos in the Alter Rebbe. It's all under Hilchos Pesach because the Yetzias Mitzrayim without Matan Torah is garnished. So Matan Torah, like the Ramban says, everything between is Chalamoid. Matan Torah is the climax of Yetzias Mitzrayim. So it's all Hilchos Pesach leads you to Hilchos Shavuos. So we all know all the goodies that we have to do for Shavuos, the minhagim of the flowers, the minhagim of the cheesecake, the minhagim of all these things. But there is a halacha in Shulchan Aruch about the kriyas Torah and the maftir. And for me personally, this is touching because as I soon tell you, the halacha says which haftarah you have to do the first day, and it's the haftarah of the Ma'aseh Merkava. And for my family, it's touching because the nevuah Yecheskel had was on Hey Tammuz. Hey Tammuz is my father's yahrzeit. So every time when I read those words, Vayhi, Vayhi, B'Shleish, B'Revi, B'Chamish L'Chodesh, if anybody, Hashem B'Shem Wilhelm Yechuna, gets a chill down the back. So the Shulchan Aruch says like this: in Siman Kaf Tzadik Dalid, Seif Dalid, the Alter Rebbe says what the kriyas Torah should be for that day. And then he says, Vahamaftir is the Parshas Pinchas, Umaftir b'Navi b'Merkava the Yecheskel. On Shavuos, the Navi, the Haftarah is in the nevuah of the Merkava, which Yecheskel had, Vaseches. Al Shem Shenigla Kodesh Baruch Hu b'Sinai b'Riva Yerivaros Alpei Sinan. Since the Eibishter revealed himself to us by Sinai with millions and millions of malachim, so therefore we read the nevuah of Yecheskel, which talks about malachim, which talks about these things, the Ma'aseh Merkava. So much emphasis is put into this, and the next sif, the Alter Rebbe says, "V'noyegim b'ktsas mekaymes, shegadol v'chacham koyres ois haftarah." It's the minhag is that you don't just give it to anybody to read it, because as we know today's days, Kabbalah, all these movements that they have, if you're not focused, it can take you off the right path. And the Gemara Chagiga actually says that you're not allowed to teach, or you're not even allowed to learn Ma'aseh Merkava unless you're well equipped. So why are we doing this? So the minhag is that the Gadol and a Chacham reads this Ma'aseh Merkava, and he brings Taka the Smach v'loy b'Ma'aseh Merkava elim kein haya Chacham v'meiv midaita. Okay, and that's the Gemara Chagiga. That you're not allowed to teach lofty things. The Gemara in Talmud, for those who are going to learn Talmud to try now get a Masiyah Masechta, there are certain things, certain topics that which is personal about the Eibishter, too personal. Unless you know enough, you shouldn't be dealing with Ma'aseh Merkava, Ma'aseh Bereshis. So only a Chacham, and it actually says that the Alter Rebbe in the next sif says that there are those that have the minhag that you stand by even if you don't have the minhag standing any other haftarah, but in Ma'aseh Merkava you stand. So I was actually in a shul this Shavuos, and it was a big Chabad yeshiva. Came to the haftarah, somebody gave a blank on the table. It's a minhag that's brought that some stand for Ma'aseh Merkava. Okay. The question is obvious, and the Rebbe speaks about this in Chelek Lamed Gimel. The Rebbe asks, The Gemara speaks about Ma'aser Merkava, that the Gemara says it's challenging for a Stama person to start reading about the Hashmal, about the Srafim, as much as you want to talk about it, because there's some connection to Shavuos, but there's so many other Haftarahs that are more directly connected to Shavuos. There's nothing in this Haftarah about Matan Torah. There's nothing. It's just what's going on up there. It's just about the Ma'aser Merkava. Fine. The Haftarah, which is a Nevuah, which also talks about Elikam Teman Ba, and it's more relevant. Me'ena Parshas, Me'ena Yoim. And especially that you're getting to the challenge that you're going to speak about things that people have problems with, people don't understand. And the Rebbe actually takes it and turns it around, Kedarke B'Kodesh. The Dafka, that is the mile of Shavuos, that is the mile of Matan Torah, that it takes the highest of lofty ideas to bring it down to the lowest and simplest person, that he should be able to make a dir b'tachtonim. I don't have the time for that, but there's a beautiful sikha what the Rebbe explains. I want to take one or two psukim in this Haftarah and not nish fleeing the luften. Let's do a halacha. Maybe me and you, we can all become a little better in this halacha. If you look in the Haftarah, every Levavik Shabachar knows one pasuk in that Haftarah. Ratzi v'shuv, v'chayis, ratzi v'shuv, ratzi v'shuv. Every person that opens the Vart Chassidus knows that in Avodas Hashem, you can't just be spiritual on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. You have to be Ratzi v'shuv. You got to become and bring it all down. You know, you have to bring minahar ela'am. Take the ruchnias into gashmis. You can't. You're not a malach. So that's Ratzi v'shuv. But then there are some halachas. Few psukim have halachas. And let's talk about the halachic one. So one of the psukim in the Haftarah is how he sees the malachim, and it says, pasuk zayin, v'ragleihem regel yishara. Their feet are straight, very straightforward. V'kaf ragleihem kekaf regel ego. And the palm, however you would say it in English, it looks like the foot of a calf. So let me tell you a din Shulchan Aruch. In Hilchas Tefillah, in Siman Tzadikei, you'll be surprised at this. In Siman Tzadikei, the Alter Rebbe says like this: Hamisfalo, when you daven, sarich sheyichavein raglav zu eitzel zu. You must keep your feet close to each other. And I want to point this out. There's a Shita Sabach that says we don't pass him that way. But the Prima Gordon doesn't pass it that way. The Bach holds that if you did the daven and you kept your feet apart, you have to re-daven. That's how important it is. Hamisfalo, sarich sheyichavein ragel zu eitzel zu. You have to put your feet together.
That's by Shmoneh Esrei.
By Shmoneh Esrei. B'chlal tefillah, you can't read when you will. You can't read the shuster in front of you. You can't read when you will. You have to keep your feet together. Ki'ilu einon ela regel echad. As if it's one foot. Why are we doing this? Lahadmais lemalachim. We want to look like the malachim, the angels. Shenemar behem v'ragleihem regel yishara. By them it says, and their feet, plural, regel yishara. It looks like one. So because we are davening, and by davening, we want to look like malachim. There's some inserts you have to put in here. So we have to act like them in a certain way and make it look like one foot. Koloimar ragleihem nirais kiregel echad. Okay? So the Alter Rebbe, the Mechaber, all bring this reason for this, and this is Gemara and Brachos. Based on the pasuk in Ma'aser Merkava, that they saw that Raglei and Regel Yishara, your feet should look as one. That's why they're put together. In the Yerushalmi, there's actually a machlokes what the reason is for having your feet put together. One opinion says lahadmais l'malachim, that you should do what how the malachim look like. And the second opinion is you should look like the kohanim. The kohanim b'shasta avoda. Or the kohanim, the pasuk says loisala b'mailos al mizbechi. Right? So the kohanim always have to walk heel toward the other foot, one top of the foot to the heel of the front foot. So there's always a connection between the 2 feet. The back, the end of the heel to toe, I'm sorry, I'm all terrible boy, I learned from Rabbi. The heel to toe. Huh?
You're thinking of right first.
Why? It's different. It's a right sound. Heel to toe. So therefore, because they were heel to toe, that's why, and a person davening is doing avodah, so you have to look like a kohen. The mechaber doesn't bring that reason. The Alter Rebbe doesn't bring the reason. The only one that brings that there's a machlekes is the Torah. The Torah brings this din that you should daven keeping your feet together, and he says, and Yerushalmi says these two reasons. When you look at all the commentaries on the Torah, everybody's having a field day. What's he even bringing the kohanim for? What's he bringing? Why don't we just stick to the malachim? And that's the reason that's brought in the Gemara Bible. So the Aruch HaShulchan actually says, funny halacha. The Aruch HaShulchan says, I see what everybody is talking about, why he brings the Yerushalmi, also the Bach, the Beis Yosef, everybody has different explanations. But he paskins, he says like this, when you walk into shul, you should walk toe to heel. You should walk toe to heel because that's when the avodah is starting. That's when the Shemona Esrei, he wants you to have both feet together. And Shemona Esrei should be ragleihem regel yishar. Okay. You have to daven Shemona. The difference between the two reasons is obvious. If it's in kohanim or malachim, is kohanim had toe to heel. And ragleihem regel yishar means literally looking like one. And this is something us heavy set people have the problem to keep your feet together. But you have to keep your feet together. So much so that the Alter Rebbe and the Mechaber don't even bring the opinion of kohanim. They bring only the malachim part. And by the malachim it says ragleihem regel yishara. It should be mamish together. Now, there is a third reason. And it's really a tam within a tam. But the benefit from this is, let me tell you a din in Hilchos Yom Kippur. There's a din in Hilchos Yom Kippur where we find another place where we're supposed to be like malachim. And there's going to be an afkamina there. We wear a kittel in Yom Kippur. Says Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch in Siman Tuf Reish Yud Siv Tes. Now those that wear white, clean clothing in Yom Kippur, so you should look like an angel. There's another reason for wearing a kittel in Yom Kippur. A minute ago we want to act like an angel. The other answer is that's what you bury people with white, simple clothing. When you wear that in Yom Kippur, the person will become a little more humble. What's the difference between these two reasons? So the Alter Rebbe says, he speaks about an avol, but then he speaks about the chen hanashim. The difference would be, should a woman wear white clothing? Malachim, sorry, there ain't no female malachim. So if it's l'zdamis l'malachim, there's no point in it. But if it's the other reason, there is a point in it. So I'm taking that svara, and I'm saying, if it's l'zdamis l'malachim, to put the feet together, there are no women malachim, so maybe they don't have to put the feet together. If it's kohen la'avodah, emor l'bnei Aaron, v'loy l'bnei Aaron, then that, even though if a woman should say karbanis in the morning, the woman in Alter Rebbe and Shulchan Aruch, it speaks about that. Do you have to stand? I'm not the kohen. I can't. Avodah is not every avodah is share bizarre. So there's a whole read about that. So for all these reasons, I don't know if everybody would say a woman must keep the feet together. But there's another reason which is the Beis Yosef brings, and this is a musahachim avodah Hashem. Is when you're davening Shemona Esrei, there's nothing else that exists. You want to show you want to at least show to Hashem, I have one mission in life, one goal. There's nothing else. How did Rabbi Horowitz teach me? Ain't oid nothing else but the Eibishter. And the way you show that is bring everything singular, everything one. So you put your feet together. That's a mahalach that even women should do. And it's makubal that women. I'm just showing this because there's so many simple things that we do. We don't even know. Sometimes we don't even understand why we're doing this. I want to be Messiah with a story I read on Yom Tov. The Rebbe's grandfather, Baruch Schneer, once told the Rebbe Rashab a word that he heard from a batchim. He says the Gemara in Masechta Beis starts off Beitza Shinil the B'Yantiv B'Shamayim Te'achal B'Silayim Lo Te'achal Zok Rashi. Why Lo Te'achal? Says Rashi B'Gemara Mefarish Taima. So the Batchan asks, why did you only ask why Lo Te'achal? Why didn't Rashi comment, why Te'achal B'Gemara Mefarish Taima? And the Batchan answered, if he's Te'achal, if he's eating it, he'll feel the taste. It's basically the time. It's when you're Lo Te'achal, with the nishvus in the time, so Rashi has to say, B'Gemara Mefarish Taima. So the Rebbe Rashab listened, and the Rebbe Rashab said, aber ruchnius tam is a sach starker. He asked, welche is take, starker? Gashmiistige tam or the ruchniistige tam? In other words, when you learn something, we should train ourselves not to be robots. Everything that we do has a rhyme and a reason. The simple thing of putting your feet together, if I would have 2 hours, I could talk about this 2 hours. There's so much, every halacha. You look in the Rebbe's Haggadah, the Rebbe says, the Rebbe brings from the Maril. Right in the beginning of the Haggadah, where the Rebbe says, you're sitting down by the Seder, and the Maril says like this, please make sure to notice every small detail that you're doing at the night of the Seder. There is nothing that you're doing tonight that has no nishba v'afim. So Rabbi said, when you daven, stay focused, laser being focused, and the Eibush will be Mekabi Tzilas.